Personal means personal. Like if you're creating a personal brand, I'll talk from that side of it. So what that means is you got to share some things that are personal. Like at some point, like if you think you're building a personal brand and it's all business and all you have out there is business content, it's not a personal brand. It's okay to do just business marketing. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you think about personal, you got to share something that's authentic. You got to share something that's you. You got to share other interests. It's okay to be like focused. It's okay to build your business. It's okay to be like really, but if you want to attract, if you want to get to the point to where you're attracting interesting people and interesting experiences, you got to start dreaming a little. You got to be authentic. You got to start having fun again. I had to learn the hard way. I'm like, I look up one day and I'm like, man, not having as much fun, sure, making more money, doing other things, doing this, that, the business is growing, the reach is going, but like, how can I incorporate some fun into this so that also it's good for business too?
Welcome back, everybody, to From Crisis to Justice. I am your host, Parag Amin, and I'm joined by a special guest and friend, Adam Torres. Adam is the co-founder of Mission Matters, a media branding and book publishing agency that's helped amplify the voices of thousands of entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. He's conducted over 6,000 interviews. He's built a content network of more than 100,000 pieces of content across podcasts, video, and books. Before he launched Mission Matters, he was in the financial services industry where he managed a portfolio of over $500 million. Today, he's a top-ranked podcast host, international speaker, and author of multiple bestsellers on business and investing. Adam, thank you for being here today.
You forgot, and a guest on From Crisis to Justice. What an honor, Parag, man. I've been following you on social for a long time. Obviously, you're a friend as well in LA, so we're in the same networks. But man, I'm loving the content you're putting out, and I'm happy to finally be on the show, man. Thank you.
Awesome, man. Thank you. So let's jump into it. I mean, look, you know a lot about branding. You know a lot about people and their missions and what they want to do. So how did you even get into this? Why is it called Mission Matters, and why does it matter?
Yeah. So I will say a big piece of this was the other co-founder, Chirag. So I'll say like originally I pitched him, I said, hey, I'm going to put together this book. It's going to be an anthology series. So think about it as like Chicken Soup for the Soul, but it was for business owners and entrepreneurs and executives. So I was like, same concept. And I was originally pitching Chirag to be in the book. And I talked to him and he's like, you know what? I like this, but I actually want to be part of this. Like for real, like this should be a company. And I'm like, a company, a book publishing company? Are you crazy? Remember, I'm a financial advisor at this time. I have like an actual, brick and mortar building, like business. And I'm like, he's like, yeah. And I didn't quite understand the media space, which that was Chirag's background. And so I said, be in this business. What business? I got a little deck here and I'm trying to put together a book with some buddies. Like, I don't even know what the business is for that. And he taught me a lot along the way. And as we started building brick by brick, the podcast was added to it. And really the podcast was the game changer for us. Books were a little bit dated, and we still put out books, by the way. So this is April of 2025 that we're recording this. Hard to believe. We've now published over 400 authors, and we just released the 11th edition of our best-selling business leaders book last week. So that being said, like, we're still in the book business, but the podcast is what really kind of lit a fire on our brand and really like amplified everything. And and that was the big wave that got us any type of reach. And that when we started the podcast, that was when I was finally comfortable with exiting my other business, no longer being in finance. I had every license you can think of, your Series 6, 7, 63 insurance licenses, 66, you name it. I had it and I gave them all up and I went full force, full time into media. Been doing it now 9 years in January or December. Kind of insane, Parag.
That's awesome. I love that. So would you say your mission is to help other people with their missions, or what is the purpose of Mission Matters? What are you trying to accomplish? What would you like to see as like a successful end result?
Well, I'll tell you originally, I'll give you the progression. Originally, it was like most businesses, I wanted to, make some money. Media could be a good thing. My other business, I didn't really see a hockey stick in it. I know I could grow year over year. I know I could grow by acquisition. I know there's a lot of different ways to grow in that model, but I didn't see any real hockey stick. And I was thinking about like what was going to be next overall. And when I saw the media thing and the media model, it started with, just make money. I mean, that was the original thought process. In fact, the original name of the company was Money Matters. And as I got further into this concept of helping others and further as a host into telling stories and helping people share their stories, I still remember it like it was yesterday. I was doing an interview with someone and they said, Adam, money matters, but mission matters too. And it hit me like in the stomach, Prague. I'm telling you, it was like God just gave me a little punch in the stomach. And by the way, me and God talk like that. He might put me in the headlock. Come on, Adam, listen. Like that's the way I work with God. It's fine. He made me. It's okay. So it just struck me. So I call up Chirag maybe a little bit after that conversation of that interview. I'm like, Chirag, what do you think about the name Mission Matters? And Chirag, we talk about it, and we leave it on the table. Then we keep on, talking about other things. And then maybe like a couple weeks later, Chirag calls me. He says, Adam, what do you think about the name Mission Matters? And I'm like, Shrag, that's a brilliant idea. But if we're going to do it, I'm telling you right now, if I look it up, I know the domain's already taken. We're going to have to buy it. If we have enough money in the bank account for this particular business, we're going to spend it all to get this domain, or we're not going to do it. I won't even look it up. So we make the commitment. If there's enough money in this business's bank account, we're going to do it. So we looked it up. It was more expensive than I'd ever thought I'd pay for a domain, and the rest is history. Within 9 days from that moment, we completely stopped our other podcasts. We completely stopped all of the branding and everything else we were doing. So all just to be clear, when I talk about like a leap of faith, either whether it's from for me, it was listening to God and just being like, okay, this is the next step, but it's like that kind of like step and you will be rewarded. But it was a leap of faith. I already had over 1,500 podcast episodes under my belt under that brand. Just to be clear, they're still out there. We'd also already published multiple books under that brand. We had the social media built out. We had a website built out. So it's hard enough to start a media company. We're already a couple years in. Hard enough to start a media company, get it functioning, get it to where anybody cares, but then to pause it and stop for no reason outwardly and to start over again, that was a leap of faith, but we were rewarded. And ultimately what part of what also helped us make that decision was that the real, and nothing, not that there's anything wrong with money and money matters and or financial advisor or anything like that, but I looked at the content and I looked at where my personal heart was as a creator and a content creator, and maybe only 20% of my conversations were actually about money. So now I'm just thinking as a marketer as well, like in retrospect, of course, I wasn't thinking this at the time. At the time, I'm thinking, are you absolutely crazy, Adam? It was hard enough to get anybody to care about this brand, and now you're going to launch another one? Stupid, right? But I thought about it as a creator then, and I'm like, like mission was really what stuck out to me. It was like there's so many people out there that have a story to tell that never will if they're not provided a platform to tell that story on, just like what you're doing here, Parag, with From Crisis to Justice, and also there's and all the other podcast hosts out there, the publishing companies out there, like without providing that platform. But the second thing is I figured that people need encouragement. They don't even necessarily know that their story is worth telling. And that's why I'm on this show today. That's why I go on other people's shows at this point, is because I want to spread the love and just encourage others that, hey, if I could do it, you could do it. Because let me tell you, I was the scaredest person ever. Sprague, I don't even know if we didn't know each other back then, but you turn on a camera, I forget my name. I did almost 3,000 episodes before I was comfortable to go in front of a camera. These were audio only episodes. So I was that scared. In fact, my first show, I didn't even use my real name, Prague. I did not. I used a pseudonym. It was a nickname.
What name did you use?
It was a nickname that was so I was my office was in Century City, and I'm a community builder. So I was part of the Century City Chamber of Commerce, the Arts Council. I'm picking public art. So like affectionately, some laughing, some not, but eventually it stuck. People in Century City would call me Mr. Century City. Like that was actually my name. They go, oh, there goes Mr. Century City. It started as a joke, but then it stuck. So then that's what I called myself. so it was ridiculous looking back now, but from even that, a brand was built. But that's the funny part about it. So when I tell other people, like they may look at me now, some may say, "Oh, this guy's terrible." Some may say, "Oh, I can never do that. This guy's good." Whatever your opinion of me is, just understand my opinion is I started as the worst podcaster in history. I couldn't even say my name in front of a camera, or I'd be like losing it to the point to where, again, I didn't even use my real name. So if I can do it, anybody listening to this right now, if you're thinking about a podcast, Instagram channel, blog, whatever, your voice needs to be heard. Like you should start it. You should do it, whether you're doing it yourself, you're using a company, doesn't matter to me. Just get out there and do it. So that's why I do what I do, Parag.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, and there's one mystery solved. If anybody was wondering who Mr. Century City was, it's Adam Torres. So
I
heard
trademarked
that
it,
here first.
actually. I own it too, so don't go out there stealing it, because I own that trademark.
It's interesting because the pivot from going from money matters to mission matters, because look, I mean, it's true, money does matter, but it's
Yeah.
not the only thing that matters. And so I think a lot of times, unfortunately, people get this confused, particularly, you have a background in finance. My undergrad major was in finance, and I worked in finance for a little bit before law school. So I think particularly in finance, which is very money focused, I think it's very easy to lose sight of it. And, an insight that I had was the issue with money is that when it's money by itself without a mission, it's very hollow, and it becomes very problematic and very dark, where somebody's just acquiring wealth or money for the purposes of acquiring wealth or money. And there's no purpose behind it. There's no sense of service behind it. And ultimately, those are the people you see who say, well, money doesn't matter. Money never made me happy. Well, it's like, of course, because you were chasing the wrong thing. Instead of chasing a mission, a purpose, a vision to help other people, it was a very selfish endeavor of just trying to gather as much money as possible. So let me ask you, when it comes to somebody who wants to get their mission out there, I think the fear you described of not wanting to use your real name or doing 3,000 episodes before you felt comfortable on camera, I think a lot of people, one, don't realize how long of a process it can be to get comfortable, but then two, they don't realize the importance of it. So can you talk a little bit about the importance of branding and talking about your mission, your vision, your values in today's economy?
Well, going back to the beginning, even before our mission matters. So the first book that I released, because just to give you an idea, like I was a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being nothing. I was a 0. Like I didn't want to do anything, and I fought every bit of it. I was like, I remember my first book, I didn't want to write it. I was like, because again, I was in finance. I was exactly what you mentioned. I was one of those people that had a chip on their shoulder. I didn't know what I didn't know at that point. I grew and have evolved since then, but I didn't know. So the first thing, one of my mentors, when I started my own RIA, so now I have my own business, and they're like, okay, well, you need to market yourself. And I'm like, okay, great, but people know what I do. It's like, no, you should write a book. And I'm like, a book? I'm like, why would I write a book? Like broke people write books. You think I'm going to spend my time on like a $3 item, or what is my profit margin, or what is it? Like, I didn't get it. And he's like, Adam, don't fight me on this. You hired me, like write a book, and this is how we're going to do it. So I'm like, all right. So I do that book, and it just, I start getting feedback from the world then. And I start seeing how my story was helping other people. And I start seeing, and then other opportunities just came my way. Like all of a sudden I was doing like paid speaking gigs. And I can think about like before that, I would, the financial advisor world, you're paying, I'm buying everybody dinner if you want to come see me speak, because I want you to invest. Like, that model. It's like, so that's what I'm used to. Now, wait a minute, you want to pay for me to come just because I have this book? Like that just was a whole new world to me. And it opened up a lot of thought process around like what was possible. So as I've seen my brand grow year over year, it's come to the point to where a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago now, we launched a personal brand accelerator. And the reason we did it was to help other people do exactly what we've been able to accomplish in growing a brand. So now, if I was a 1 in the beginning where I didn't understand brand and I thought it was all a waste of time, now on the other side, I'm a 10. And I'll tell you, I'll show you, I'll give you a quick example. People at home won't be able to see this, but I'll just describe it. I'm holding up a bag of coffee right here. Prague, you could see that. That's Arabica coffee was started in 1976. I don't know if you can see the logo on there. That's my
I can.
face. And so how funny is that? They'll roast 10 tons of coffee this year. So when you think of this company, again, been around since 1976, over 200 locations, and my face is on the bag. So that's from a financial advisor. I wasn't some, celebrity. I couldn't shoot a basketball. I couldn't play football. I couldn't do any of that. I can get behind this microphone, talk, share my story, have some laughs with my buddies, and build my personal brand, try to add as much value to the world as possible. And through my mission, which is to amplify the stories to others. And then magic happens with the right brand, like a coffee company who calls you out of the blue and says, "Hey, I see your work, and let's collaborate." Like
That's
that's what happens
awesome.
with a personal brand. It's insane. And I'm just a baby. Just to be clear for everybody at home, I'm a little puppy in this media game. The greats have been doing it for 20, 30 years. I'm only 9 years in. So like the way I see it is if it works this well now, what happens in 5 years? What happens in 10 years? What happens in 20 more years? I'm still pretty young.
Yeah. So what do you think about what are some common misconceptions or things that people get wrong when it comes to media and branding?
Well, two different sides. I don't think they understand the personal. Personal means personal. Like if you're creating a personal brand, I'll talk from that side of it. So what that means is you got to share some things that are personal. Like at some point, like if you think you're building a personal brand and it's all business and all you have out there is business content, it's not a personal brand. It's your business, and it's okay. It's okay to do just business marketing. There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay to do that. But when you think about person, you got to share something that's authentic. You got to share something that's you. You got to share other interests. Like in the hard part for me with personal branding in general was that I'm kind of a one trick pony. Like, what do you do, Adam? Podcast. What do you do for fun? Podcast. What do you do when you're not podcasting? Sleep. I mean, that's very boring. Like you gotta have more dimensions. You gotta have more depth. If it's okay to be like focused, it's okay to build your business. It's okay to be like really, but if you want to attract, if you want to get to the point to where you're attracting interesting people and interesting experiences, you got to start dreaming a little. You got to be authentic. You got to start having fun again. That was one of the things that I had to learn the hard way. I'm like, I look up one day and I'm like, man, not having as much fun, sure, making more money, doing other things, doing this, that, the business is growing, the reach is going, but like, how can I incorporate some fun into this so that also it's good for business too? And so when I started doing that more, it worked a lot better. But when I was a financial advisor and just kind of thinking about what type of content to make, it was very hard. Like creatively, I'm like, okay, I'm at a desk all day. How do I build a personal brand when I'm at a desk looking at a computer all day in front of a pile of papers? And then you look online, you open it up, and then all of a sudden you have like this, influencer, this, that. Oh, I'm traveling, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So originally, that was my concept of what a personal brand was supposed to be. It was supposed to be, oh, I got to be an influencer, I got to travel, I got to do this. Now, obviously, I had clients, and I'm not going to do that. I have to be by that desk. I have to do this. But there's other ways to be creative and to start creating content that aren't that. So when I say authentic, you have to find your voice, you have to find what matters to you. So I'll give you just one quick example of how I used to create content then. So every morning, I mean, I lived right off of Camden and Wilshire. I don't live there anymore, so I can give the crossroads anyway, in Beverly Hills, so a block away from Rodeo Drive. And in the morning, I would go and I'd do a live stream on my morning walk when I was grabbing a coffee, and I'd just be talking to people, live stream, walking around doing that. And at this point, this is a while ago, but there was a platform called Periscope, and I'd have thousands of people watching. Thousands of people watching me go grab my morning coffee, just having a conversation. And that first conversation, it was called the Gratitude Show. And all I did, because again, I was so freaking scared to do anything, I just asked one question: what are you grateful for? That's the whole show. And people would come on, and I'd be like, I just say their name. If you were to come on, I'd be like, Parag, so what are you grateful for this morning? What are you grateful for? And then my next step in building that show was I started coming up with gratitude missions. So then I was like, okay, the mission today for everyone watching is I want you to text somebody that you love and just tell them you're grateful for them out of the blue. Don't say anything else, just text them that. And the next day I would get like responses. And I still remember very clearly, one gentleman's like, Adam, I don't even know how to tell you you this, but this show's changed my life. It's changed my marriage. My wife was crying because she said in our 15-year marriage, that's the first time I ever told her that I was grateful for her. And I thought she knew, but I never verbalized it. I thought we had a healthy marriage and everything else, and we're doing well. There's nothing wrong like in our marriage, but I never verbalized it, and it really hurt her. So like you just don't know how like all these little things along the journey of building content and trying to help others, you don't know where you're gonna hit. But everything that I just described, it's all authentic. It's all authentic. I didn't try to make anything up. I didn't do any research to say, should I do a show called The Gratitude Show and ask one question? Probably ChatGPT would come back like, Adam, that's a stupid idea. like that show will never work, but it did, and it was authentically me, and I just kept moving forward and building from there. So the number one thing is you got to be authentic in whatever you're doing and building your personal brand. Like it's got to be something you're proud of, that you're going to be proud of today and tomorrow.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And that's the interesting thing is whether you bounce it off ChatGPT or a friend or whoever,
Yeah.
ultimately they don't know how much originalism you're going to bring to it, how much of yourself, your own character, your own charisma that you're going to bring into this thing that helps make this thing successful. So it's not really about the idea, but it's about the expression of yourself. And I think it's such a powerful thing that people really should tap into. And it's interesting because before we even turned on the recording on the cameras, you and I were just talking about that, the importance of that, whether it's in social media or whatever, just having fun with it instead of making it a chore. And the same thing is true of work. I think, unfortunately, a lot of times that part of it gets lost, that it's not just supposed to be a grind. It's not just supposed to be a hustle. You're supposed to have some fun along the way, because if you're not having fun, what's the point? Like it's just the same thing over and over, and people can sense it. People can feel it if you're enjoying what you're doing.
And that's why your social media is so good. And I wasn't just pulling your leg or saying, I enjoy it when you come up, because you're always testing. You're coming out with a new video. It's a new format. It's something else. Like I'm not saying that you don't have a great team. I know you have a great team behind you that helps you with this, but like you're enjoying doing it, whether you came up with the idea or they did. Like you're in it. They didn't just hand you something like, all right, we're going to do this. No, you're in it on some level of the way, because it comes through. It's authentically you. And out of all the other like people that try to like get caught up with this, what we were talking about, you got to post once a day, or you got to do this, you got to do that. I'd rather see one good post from you than like one consistent post from somebody that's not in it and just put a random clip AI software and regurgitated a bunch of 15-second clips to make sure that they were in front of me. They get unfollowed. I'm sorry.
Yeah, 100%. And I appreciate that. Yeah. And likewise, and I think for all the listeners out there who are like, well, what should I post about? Or who do I need to show up as? I mean, look, Adam just told you he made up a show called The Gratitude Show and just had people come on, and he had 1,000 or thousands of listeners and viewers every day over, no offense, but a very simple concept, but a great question. I think it's a powerful question. So, let me ask you this, Adam. I know that you had mentioned you're a little short on time. So if people want to learn a little bit more about maybe how to record, or if they're thinking about doing a podcast, or look, if they want their own branded coffee, how can they get in touch with you and find you and learn more about you and Mission Matters?
Easiest way, connect with me on Instagram, Ask Adam Torres. Send me a DM. I'd love to hear what kind of show you're working on. Let me know. I want to hear. Pitch me an idea. You want an opinion on it? I'm happy to give opinions on shows, show concepts, show ideas. As a company, we've launched over 250 shows now, Prague. It's unbelievable. I can't even, the time flies by, but I love to hear new show pitches. So shoot me a DM on Instagram, Ask Adam Torres. There's also a link tree there, so that if you want to check out any of our content, and we got free ebooks, we got books, we got, you name it, the newsletter, all the other good stuff. There's a link on, again, Ask Adam Torres on Instagram.
Awesome. Love it. So check out Adam. And for everybody who tuned in, thank you for checking out From Crisis to Justice. Until next time, it was good seeing you, and make sure you like and subscribe so you know when the next episode is dropping.